happening, everybody? It's Ike from Flipside Music, and welcome to What the F.A.Q, Season 4, Episode
15.
And I'm here, as always, with
Dylan.
And it's a weekly question and answer show. You ask us a question, we have some type of an answer for you, and we might go off the rails along the way, and that's pretty normal. Welcome to today's episode, which is the
sunbathing edition. Yeah,
this is the ant underneath the magnifying glass edition of F.A.Q.
Yeah, it's like usually right here is not a
spot,
not a problem. Yeah.
But, well, we're gonna have to.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too because that is intense. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little pulling a David Letterman.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, so let's jump in. First questions first comes from Ben Coombs, our preferred Canadian YouTuber. And he says, is there a pedal company currently making a stereo phaser?
Yes.
Isn't the Chromie Lizard?
That's a flanger, and it's not stereo,
Never
unfortunately, either.
Never mind.
No, but he brings up a good point. Like, because a lot of the best phasers right now, from like Walrus's Lillian and Earthquaker's Grand Orbiter, neither of those are stereo, and they should be, or at least I think it'd be cool to have like V2 or V3 editions or whatever they want to call it, where they are stereo. But right now, I think the Zelza from Strymon. That would be one of the better ones right now. That one will cover flange, chorus, phaser, most of your swooshing bits. Yeah, it'll cover most of those sounds. I'm trying to think if there's. I mean, obviously anything that's packed into the MD series from Boss, so the MD 200.
That's what I was just going to throw out there.
Yeah, MD 200, MD 500. Sorry, kind of skipped there. I'm trying to think if there's any. Is the PH3? Is that stereo? It's weird because I know Jake has one, but I don't know that I looked at it recently. It might just have like a dry. Yeah, it might just be like dry and like dry wet kind of a thing. But yeah, the Zelza, that's the one that comes to mind right off that is definitely more in the phaser camp and is stereo.
Yeah, Strymon.
Yeah, Strymon.
If we didn't mention that.
The Strymon Zelza. Yeah.
So I hope that helps you in your search, there, Ben.
Yeah, he's like, shit, that had to be the expensive one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, we got Charles 75N. What is your practice routine? How does it differ from what you recommend for others? I think you got a better, more consistent routine than I do.
I do, but I honestly I think I need to put more like forethought into it because I feel like my practice routine is just good enough to like get a little bit better at the things that I'm already decent at and to stay at least stay up to par. I do try to learn other things more consistently, and I do feel like honestly that's probably, I guess I feel like I have ADD in that sense that like I tend to learn songs and then I'll kind of run off somewhere else and I learn something else. 'Cause I do wish I would maybe choose songs because I used to, like when I first started, I used to choose a song with like a specific technique that like I wasn't good at or I needed to learn, and that would be like why I would choose that song. But like more and more I'm finding there's just, I don't know, I guess I'm always in this debate of like if you learn solos the way like certain players play them, you do learn their habits, which is cool, but at the same time
you learn their tricks and techniques too,
right?
The specific things of that artist.
Right, and so I feel like I used to have more forethought with that, whereas like now I tend to just like play the rough framework of the song. I almost learn songs to just jam on them now. That's more what I feel like I do. Whereas it's like I wish I had a little bit more structure maybe to how I'm practicing. Like I feel like I practice, plenty, but I feel like I wish I got more out of it maybe.
Maybe more focused. That's my issue. So for my kind of practice routine, which isn't, I wouldn't even consider it a routine because just I want to practice more. The problem is I end up not. We've been busy and have small business stuff. It takes up a lot of time, and I'm not the only one. I've talked to other small business owners and stuff like that, and it's like, because I'll go home and when I should be practicing, I'm doing sales tax or I'm running reports or I'm looking at this. And I know I should turn it off and give myself some downtime. I just don't.
It's hard, yeah.
It's very difficult because I feel the responsibility of growing a business, but also the responsibility of my whole staff. Because
Well, and to be,
I feel there's a bit of weight, and I'm not trying to get heavy on it.
Yeah.
But I feel like there is a bit of weight on making sure that we're doing what we need to do to continue to grow, and everybody gets to have a cool job without having to get a real job.
yes.
Like at a carpet store or some shit.
Yeah, or any corporate kind of, yeah.
So my practice routine doesn't necessarily always become consistent. I don't sit down at a specific time and practice for a specific time or a specific thing all the time. I do play every day, but there's times where I'm noodling. There's times where I'm just running through some chords. I do focus more if I'm in a band situation, like if we're like, all right, we're putting a band together.
Well, and that was what
Then
I
I
was going
do,
to say. Yeah.
here's my list of songs, and I start just hitting those tunes and working on them, and then I just kind of just keep working on the songs over and over until I get them right.
Well, I think that also applies to like original songs too.
Yeah.
Because like Jake and I have been finding that like right now while we're writing things, we at least need to have enough that we can both kind of like revisit it. So it's like we're having to at least compose enough that we can both practice to it too, so that we have like some direction. Because that's kind of been what we've been trying to figure out is like, I think, like you said, either way, bands, I think, do
tighten up
yes
your practice habits because you kind of have to.
Well, if you give a shit, they do.
Yeah.
yeah, because like people
I'll spend a lot of time just trying to get the damn shit right, and sometimes you can't, or sometimes it all depends on the song, or if we're changing it up a little bit, changing the groove, changing a few things here and there. But other than that, like I have an online course that I'm working through. The problem is I'll get through a couple modules, and I'll really work them out, and then it'll be another week and a half before I get back to it. And that does throw things off. The problem is I have great intentions. I'll get up in the morning and I'm like, I'm going to practice for an hour. I'm going to learn this thing, and I'm going to get it under my fingers, and I'm going to practice it again tonight. And then I'll open up my emails. Let me just check my emails real quick.
Well, no, that was
and
just,
then I get sidetracked, and it's like, fuck.
Well, I was going to say
work,
that to be fair, to be fair to yourself on that front of it, I feel like, it's the same thing because you're basically the media that you use to learn is tied to the same thing that you use to work. So it's like you can't, because I'm the same way. Like if you pull anything up and it's there, you look at it and then you're off on some, you're off on some other thing, and you're like, oh shit, I need to take care of that, and you do that because I think that's natural. Whereas whereas people used to have, just
separation.
Yeah, computers weren't, your the better part of your existence wasn't tied up in the damn thing, so you could separate it. Like if you went to this spot, you were doing this, and if you went to this spot, you were doing that, and everything was very delineated. But
that was good. Like so my nephew moved in with me last year. Mm-hmm. So up till last year, I had my office, which I literally I had it set up to just do office shit. That's it.
Right.
This is business work, and then I had my music group, all the guitars, the music gear, and another computer in there for just music. And so that was a little bit more helpful because I had a room that was just specifically to do the thing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, since he moved in, I kind of had to combine the two.
Right.
And so
it's one can sometimes beat the other when it comes to
So
so I guess if we're gonna kind of consolidate that down, I feel like focusing on it and having some kind of direction is probably what I'd recommend to others. If I had any recommendation, would be just to make it, in routine is the right word for it. Like if you don't make it a consistent thing, because that is the thing. Like yes, maybe I don't get the most out of the time that I spend practicing, but I do try to consistently practice at the same time every night. Now that's partly because I make a shit ton of noise, and sound ordinances kick in at 10. So my neighbors know from 9 to 10 it's on.
There's going to be noise.
Yeah. So
and so I think that falls into the second part of this. It says, how does it differ from what you recommend to others? Because we always will recommend picking a specific time.
Yes.
Picking a specific skill set that you want to work on. Do you want to work on your triads, your inversions? Do you want to work on your modes? Do you want to work on, your pentatonic positions, the major, all that kind of stuff, like different chords you're trying to work with. So pick a time and be specific on what you want to work on. I think it's good too to work
like practice with purpose.
Yeah, practice with purpose. But I think it's good to work with kind of going all the way back to where we started this. Work on a skill set, but then also work on a song.
Yes,
So
apply
working
it.
on
Apply, yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, I want to learn my inversions, my triads, but I also have this song that I'm learning. Is there some way to put those two together? Or I'm learning my triads. What is a song that's good that goes along with that? To kind of work with it, or just learn a song that you want to, because then you're doing something that's really fun. Like, I really want to learn whatever this song is. Pick a song. But that way you're adding to your vocabulary of songs,
it is. It's
but you're
like,
also working at your skill set on guitar.
well, it's like
That's my
learning a new word. If you don't use the word in context and in a sentence, you'll never know how to masterfully use that word in conversation.
I got one word that I mastered
Yeah, yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, we're definitely bringing that one back.
Yeah, I could bookend it if I need to.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go. That's a long way around for that question.
Yeah, no, that was a good question, though.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
that was, because I mean, honestly, it's something that I feel like it brings to my attention and my own stuff that I need to practice with purpose is definitely, I think, consolidates that.
Yeah. All right, so moving on.
All right, Matt Pula, I hope I'm saying that correctly.
So check out Matt's got a
Yes.
YouTube channel, and
Yeah.
we've kind of done some stuff with him with some pedals and stuff like that. So go.
Well, I was going to say, he's
Check
got to
out
let
his
me
YouTube
know if
channel.
I am saying his name correctly, because I don't want to be not saying it correctly.
I think that's.
I think that's right. But
it's
yes.
either Pula or Pula.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. He can let me know.
Yeah.
But he did recently do a video on the bicycle delay from Cattle and Bread. That one's a really weird one, so I applaud him for like giving it a solid go, because that thing is really hard. That's a very trippy, weird pedal to rein in. So, so I think he did a great job with that one. But he says it feels like we have constant innovation within existing types of effects. A fresh take on reverb or delay, but we don't really ever see innovation in the creation of a whole new effects type. Why do you think that is? Have we discovered all of the types of effects that can exist, or do you think there's still room for companies to discover and create new genres of pedals? So,
We've talked about this before.
Yes, is there room for like new effects types? The more honestly, because we have talked about it a few times, but I think it's a good discussion. The more I think about it, how or what, like a lot of the things that we have that are effects, they relate, like I know that I don't know how they correspond exactly to the scientific property of what's happening, but like phasing, like it relates exactly to the phase going in and out. That is exactly what's happening with phase. Flange, same thing, like the flange, I don't exactly know the origin of that word, but it translates to the flange that you get from a tape deck being slightly, pulled or dragged when it's going through. So it's like there's effects or a reverb. Reverb's the same thing. Like it's in a room, like you can hear it now.
Yeah.
Like there's a
It's
physical
natural.
thing. Yeah. So to me, I've been trying to figure out, like if there was ever another effect, pitch would be another one. We can hear it, we can feel it.
Yep.
Is there another effect out there that like, can we come up with something or can we not come up with something because we don't even know what we would call it or what it is physically? You know what I mean? Like, how would we come up with it if we can't even conceptualize what it would be? Yeah.
Right. That's, I think, what we run into. It's like, we don't know what we don't know. Is that would that work?
Well, yeah, no, it is.
there
We
could
can't
be
possibly
other
know what we
effects,
don't know.
but we don't know
Yeah.
what those effects even could be at this point.
Well, right, because I think a lot of them, like I said, translate to.
And what do you call them?
Well, exactly, but a lot of them I feel like do translate to specific, specific properties or specific, within modulation, chorus, it translates to direct things that make sense exactly to what they are. With anything else, like how I keep trying to figure out, like we don't even know what sound would we be trying to capture or change that we haven't already heard.
Right.
Like in all of human history right now, like are there sounds that we straight up just haven't heard yet?
Space sounds.
Well, yeah, well,
I'm just saying, like maybe deep space. I don't know what the fuck's out there.
well, no, yeah,
I'm
like
just saying,
yeah, or even like
maybe-
the sounds that planets put off. That because there are like scientists that do have like the giant microphones listening for those things. But yeah, I mean that would be kind of the thing is like I keep trying to figure out how are we going to know it when we hear it. But the thing is like have we actually is there any room for us to hear anything we haven't heard before?
Right.
In terms of a physical effect.
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's your more philosophical, like,
Yeah.
yeah, good slant on that one.
Good thing we didn't imbibe some Colorado
Yeah,
finest.
exactly, yeah.
Otherwise, this would be
Get all tripped up. And,
yeah.
Like, oh man, what
Hey,
if it?
man,
What is it?
right.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a universe in my thumbnail, man. It's groovy, bro.
The microcosm of all sonic creation. Yeah.
Right here, bro. Anyway.
But yeah, no, that's the part that I keep kind of coming around to, I guess. It's just, it seems like that part, maybe we have heard all the sounds that humans will hear.
It's
but maybe
possible.
not, you know, hopefully not.
Yeah. All right, so hopefully that answers something.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the last one, Gordophonic Records. That's Gordo. Is it? Oh, okay, you could do it.
No, he asks, is it okay to use/run a fuzz pedal directly into the power amp or effects return of an amplifier?
Could.
Yes, and I was gonna say, I kind of used this question, he was asking me more this morning and I don't see any reason you can't, because at that point it would really just be a transistor-based distortion serving as your preamp going into a power amp. Because he was
gonna be probably more of a pure version of the fuzz though, compared to going through the front.
Well, that was sort of the discussion we were both having was, like, without the interaction, like, is, you know, what the aspect of fuzz that we like, is it the interaction of the preamp with the fuzz, or is it just the fuzz? Like,
Well,
is
I
it?
think sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes yeah, sometimes no.
Right. And that was kind of, I think he ran into an amp where he was finding that for whatever reason, the amp was just compressing too quickly when the Demogorgon was hitting it. And so he ended up putting it in the effects return, and he said it was kind of like a whole blanket got lifted off of it. And it's like, that makes sense if the amp was just immediately compressing because it couldn't take that big of a signal. Then yeah, it probably did sound better going through the effects return. And I can't really see why. I don't think it would do any damage. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I think as long as you're modest with the volume, because I could see like a really loud fuzz plus a wide open power amp could be a recipe for like a damaged speaker or something else. But
That's a possibility.
But yeah, I would just say go modest with your volumes. And honestly, word of warning for anybody is just check your volumes before you turn your shit on. No, just like even
as guitar shop guys.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, it's because we have to look at amplifiers that some asshole
dimed, yeah. But yes, please check your volumes, especially if it's like the core part of your sound. Like if that fuzz is a core part of your thing, whatever it is, check your volumes before. Or even like the other day, kid for whatever reason thought it would just be the right idea to put the Acapulco almost on full when it was like before like turning it on, and then he turned it down. And I was like, Jesus, no, like that pop is just it's not good. So anyway, check your volumes.
We can go on and on about things not to do on a stage.
I was gonna say but PSA, check your volumes. And to Gordo's point, I don't think it would be an issue because it seems like, you know, transistor-based distortion or like a MOSFET distortion, anything like that's been done before. So I don't, like within an amp.
Preamp stuff.
Right.
I mean, you could put a helix into your return.
Well,
So
right.
what's
Yeah.
the difference?
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of times, the power amp, I think a lot of people like the warmth of like a tube power amp. So honestly, I don't know that you'll miss a whole lot with certain effects, certain distortions. You might not miss a whole lot. So, because like even the revs going in, like the rev pedals going into effects returns, like a lot of time that does sound better than mixing the two preamps.
Then going in the other way.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, that's it.
I think that's it. Hopefully we don't got the screen turned
I know,
on,
and it didn't beep, so this might be a podcast version. We'll see. Hopefully not.
We'll just have little pictures.
Yeah, I'll just put like a pic. Yeah. Honestly, I need to have Al do more like headshots so that we can start just throwing those in more things. Like,
All right. Well, that's it. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.
But the power of raw.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Come all over me.